I lost my son,
My nephew.
My uncle.
My son.
on September 11th, 2001.
Most people don't know that a third tower fell on September 11th.
World Trade Center 7, a 47-story skyscraper, was not hit by a plane.
Although the official explanation is that fire brought down Building 7.
Over 1,200 architects and engineers have looked into the evidence.
And believe there is more to the story.
Bring justice to my son.
My uncle.
My nephew.
My son.
And thousands of others who died on September 11th.
Go to buildingwhat.org.
Welcome back to Tea Party Boot Camp Radio. That ad is from the buildingwhat.org people. And on the line with me now is Richard Gage. Richard Gage is a San Francisco-based architect, the founder of 9/11 Architects and Engineers for 9/11 Truth. He's also a member of the American Institute of Architects. Richard, thank you for giving us some time today.
Oh, you're so welcome. It's my...
You're back in Toronto. Why don't you tell the Tea Party Boot Camp listeners about the conference that's happening back there?
It's pretty exciting. We've got, it's a small crowd, 100 people, but it's sold out. A small room with 12 cameras in it, no sign, not really open to the public, but it's a who's who of those who are in the 9/11 Truth movement, the most outspoken leaders or researchers, if you will. It's extraordinary. The evidence is being laid out person by person over a period of 4 days, including David Ray Griffin, Kevin Ryan, Michelle Chusadovsky, Jonathan Cole, David Chandler, physics teacher. This is really quite an event.
Well, and David Chandler's from our neck of the woods, isn't he, Richard?
Yes, he's in California. That's right, down in Central California near Fresno.
Yeah, just I believe he's out of Visalia. I believe he's a professor at COS. There's going to be a viewing of Richard and 9/11 Architects and Engineers for 9/11 Truth. They have a new video out. It is called 9/11 Explosive Evidence, Experts Speak Out, and there's going to be two showings in the Fresno area this month. There's going to be a showing tomorrow on September 11th from 2 to 5, and that is downtown at the Fresno County Public Library. And then there's going to be an event on September 14th out at the Woodward Park Regional Library. That's at Perrin in Champlain, and that is September 14th from 6:45 to 9 p.m. What's in this new video, Richard? I have not seen this one.
Well, it should be noted that I represent, as of 5 years ago, now 1,500 architects and engineers, all of whom are demanding a new investigation of the destruction of all three World Trade Center high-rises on 9/11. And so we have interviewed 43 of our top experts, those in the field of high-rise architecture, structural engineering, physicists, metallurgists, chemists, and explosive demolition experts as well. These are all giving out this science-based forensic evidence in turn in this very powerful documentary. I have spent 5 years researching this and putting our DVD, the mainstay of many of those in the 9/11 Truth movement. It's called 9/11 Blueprint for Truth, the Architecture of Destruction. And now it's not just me, it's 43 experts. And after that, because the implications of these explosive destructions are so disturbing to so many of us, we've assembled about half a dozen top psychologists as well, who are speaking about why this information is so difficult, what can be done to overcome it personally, and to help others digest the truth, the reality of 9/11.
Well, and if you'd like to go to YouTube and just put in Richard Gage, and that's Gage, and KMPH, just put in KMPH, our local Fox affiliate. I think it's been almost 2 years now, Richard, and Richard did a nice segment with Kim and Kopi on Great Day, and you can still find that video on YouTube. I believe it's got over 330,000 views, and I know that's not the only channel that it's been shown on. So, Richard, tell people about the investigations you've done into the collapse of the World Trade Centers and WTC 7.
Well, we start with World Trade Center 7 because it is a obvious classic controlled demolition, and it's one that is the third worst structural failure in modern history. And yet most every architect and engineer knows nothing about it. I didn't before hearing this information 5 years ago, which was just so startling. We note that this is a 47-story skyscraper that falls on the afternoon of 9/11 at about 5:20 in the afternoon. The entire skyscraper collapses from top to bottom in just 6.5 seconds and straight down through the 40,000 tons of structural steel that was holding this building up. Now, this is really rather extraordinary. Well, because we're told 10 years later by NIST, the National Institute of Standards and Technology, is that this building collapsed due to the fires that were, and these fires were fairly scattered, normal office fires, 8 to 10 of them, most of them were pretty small. And so architects and engineers understand intuitively, and everybody else does, that fire is an organic process. It moves through a building and burns, only 20 minutes or so, and that fuel's burn up, it moves on. If a building's going to fall due to fire, it's going to fall over through the path of least resistance, not straight down through the path of most resistance. And in skyscrapers, we've never had a building collapse due to fire at all. And so NIST should have been looking at the controlled demolition hypothesis from the very get-go. And yet they ignored it completely and tried to manipulate a report, which is full of fraud, actually, that tries to explain to the American people that this building came down due to normal office fires, not diesel fuel, which it did have in it, not damage from the North Tower, which was done to it, but only normal office fires.
Well, and like I tell everybody, even if you go with the theory on the two towers that the fuel from the planes caused the fires to get so hot that that's what caused the collapse. It was, I think that first tower was a 50-minute fire, more or less. Kerosene burns much cooler than the natural gas you use in your barbecues at home. Yet my 3/16 thick lid on my barbecue at 700 degrees is still intact. I think that's hard for people to really get their hands around.
It is. And the real problem, though, is that we do, in fact, have evidence of melted steel. And this is from multiple sources. Molten metal is pouring out of the South Tower 10 minutes prior to its collapse. And then we have the evidence of provided by FEMA, which is documented very, very clearly. Melted steel beams they found in World Trade Center 7, for instance. And then there's also the evidence found by the USGS in all of the World Trade Center dust. And this is small, previously molten iron microspheres, the diameter of a human hair, and they're up to 6% of this massive quantity of dust that blanketed lower Manhattan is composed of these molten iron microspheres. The problem here with all this evidence is that it takes about 3,000 degrees to create all of this molten material. And the office fires and the jet fuel can only get to be about half that temperature. Mm-hmm. So there's no explanation on the part of officials what could have caused all of this. So they deny it.
Sure.
And yet it's all there. It's videos, photographs, witnesses, structural engineers see it. Molten, in fact, iron workers see pools of molten iron. The firemen are on record saying it's like lava flowing from a volcano. Mm-hmm. So what is it then? Well, thermite is an incendiary which cuts through steel like a hot knife through butter. It creates molten iron at 4,500 degrees. And so this material, which has the evidence of thermite in it, in addition to molten iron, aluminum, manganese, etc., this is an obvious smoking gun. It has to be looked at, and officials are not doing that. And that's why, another reason we have 1,500 architects and engineers demanding a new investigation.
Well, Richard, I got to take one quick break before we finish up the show. If you can hang over, we'll be right back to you. And you're listening to Tea Party Boot Camp Radio on 940 KYNO.